Finding a truly good highlighter sounds simple, but can be surprisingly hard. Too often you spend a small fortune only to end up with something that's chunky, glittery, or emphasizes every bit of texture on your skin. There's a difference between glow and glitter. In this video, I'm sharing the smoothest luxury highlighters that deliver the most natural, ethereal skin-like glow. Plus, a few popular bestsellers that I think you should avoid. After testing nearly everything on the market, these are the formulas that truly stand above the rest. Let's get into it. And let's kick things off with the highlighter that I have on my cheeks today, which is the Prada Beauty Light Glowing Highlighter. This is a very interesting, very unique formula in my opinion, because it's not 100% a cream, it's more like a cream to powder. These are infused with squalane, jojoba butter, and passion fruit seed oil. So the resulting formula, it is very creamy to the touch, very natural. It is the smoothest highlighter that I have ever tried. It's not going to be the most blingy, but it's very smooth, very skin-like. These are going to be the most subtle powder highlighter that I talk about in this video today. I think because of the creamy formula, these really are the best for dry skin or mature skin or textured skin for that matter. All three of the shades are super beautiful. I will say the champagne and the pink shades, they look very, very similar. It's a very subtle difference in undertones. So if you're choosing between them, take a look at the swatches here. They're really not that different. It's a very expensive highlighter, so I hope that little tip helps. I'm actually wearing the deepest shade on my cheeks right now. This works really nicely as a traditional highlighter for deeper skin tones, but for me, I really like to use the deepest shade as almost like a blush topper, a bronzer topper. I use a fluffier brush, buff it into the cheeks, and it just gives a really nice, slightly bronzy glow. And then I actually went in with the champagne shade right here on the top of the cheekbone. These are beautiful as an eyeshadow. I can't say enough good things about these other than the fact that they're pretty expensive. I will also mention that these are refillable and they do have a pretty strong fragrance if that matters to you. The Dolce and Gabbana Beauty Everlift highlighter. Now this is going to be pretty similar to the Prada one, I'm not going to lie, but this one just gives a bit more glow. If the Prada was kind of too subdued for you, this is going to give you a little bit of extra glow, but it still has a very nice creamy feel to it. Not as creamy as the Prada. The Prada uses a lot of oils and butters in their formulation, whereas the Dolce and Gabbana one has more of a silicone base, so it'll feel creamy. Because it's a bit more slippy, I feel like you can go in with pretty much any kind of brush and it'll just buff effortlessly into the skin. Not to say that the Prada one is not effortless in terms of application, but I think that it's better to have a synthetic brush with that because it is so creamy. And by the way, I will link down below all of my brush recommendations for these different highlighters, all the ones that I use in this video. They'll all be in that description box down below. The Dolce and Gabbana one also, I might mention, is not fragrance. So if you are sensitive to fragrance, if you just don't care for it, maybe check out this one because it's pretty similar to the Prada at the end of the day. The packaging is very different. Dolce and Gabbana and Prada, two very different vibes. The Prada is more like sleek and modern and edgy, and the Dolce and Gabbana has that cute little heart. It's very, I don't know, like sexy, feminine. I love both of them. They're both very luxurious, but it's like a very different vibe. And finally, the Dolce & Gabbana, sadly, at the time of me filming this video, only offers this product in one shade. Rude, Dolce & Gabbana, we need more shades. So if you're listening to this, please come out with more. But I will say it's a really beautiful champagne shade that I do think works for a good amount of skin tones. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. My name is Sophia and I upload new videos just like this every single week, all about everyday beauty and accessible luxury style. I film all of my beauty videos in natural light with no filters. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We would love to have you. And as a reminder, all these products that I'm talking about in this video, the shades that I use, the makeup that's on my face, the brushes, they're all gonna be linked down in that description box below and on the shopping button on the screen. The Hermes H Trio Iridescent Mineral Powder. I get a lot of questions about these Hermes powders. This is a much different formula than the last two that I just discussed. This is going to be mineral based. It is super smooth, but it is much more powdery. Doesn't have that kind of creamy, buttery feel. And it does have a brighter finish on the skin. It's not glittery. If it was glittery, I wouldn't be talking about it in this list of products, but it is going to be more illuminating than the last two. Some of us like a little bit more glow. So if you're going for that, this would be a really good option. I also think that this is the best option if you have oily or combo skin because it has has that mineral base and it's not full of like the jojoba butter and the squalane and all of that like you get from the Prada highlighter. This is gonna do a better job of setting your makeup and really staying in place all day, especially if you tend to get a little bit oily throughout the day. It's infused with hyaluronic acid and vitamin E, and I feel like that's really what helps it maintain that super smooth type of feel while still being quite powdery, and it's very easy to blend because of that. Also, I like the format of these. I like the fact that you get 3 shades in one. They do this with the bronzer, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It does make sense with the highlighters though, because each of those 3 shades are pretty distinct, and if you're going in with a highlighter size brush, which usually is smaller, you definitely can pick out all 3 of those colors. You can mix them together, you can swirl your brush in there, create your own shade. So I think that's nice. You know, it's a very expensive highlighter and I feel like I get my money's worth because I'm getting multiple shades. At the time of me filming this video, they only have 2 shades in the permanent line to shop from, but they're both really pretty. The one that I have right here is called Coral Mojave. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a beautiful mixture of champagne and gold. I just love it, but they also have a pink toned one as well. And I also want to mention that this one does also have fragrance. The Gucci Glow Gel Powder Highlighter. I questioned whether or not I should put this in this video because we're talking about very natural looking highlighters, and I would say this one, it is the least natural looking one in this video, but I'm including it, okay, because the formula is very special and it's still incredibly smooth. This formula has a very silicone dominant base, so you can see right there, it has like a squishy texture to it. It's not exactly creamy like the Prada and the Dolce and Gabbana, but it's almost like a cushion type of formula. It is incredibly smooth and gives this very unique, very characteristic wet-like effect. It makes your cheek look like it's glistening, but it's a powder. It's very strange, and it's really not glittery. It's not chunky. This is like the smoothest blingy highlighter that I have ever found. It really is very special. So if you're going for blingy, but you don't want glitter, this is the one that you need to check out. It is a really cool formulation. If you're looking for shade recommendations, I really like this opal pink. It's a beautiful kind of rose bronze, not too dark though. Blends into the skin, gives the most beautiful sheen. And then I also recommend checking out Sunrise Gold. This one I noticed it's not quite as blingy as the other ones in the Gucci line. I don't know why. It is a white highlighter, but it looks like a literal pearl. It has the most beautiful, soft, finely milled, iridescent sheen. If you are fair-skinned, you gotta look at this one. It is such a unique, ethereal, beautiful shade. Moving along into cream and liquid formulations, my favorite balm highlighter is hands down the Hermes Living Luminizer. This is one of their OG star products formulated by Rosemary Swift, legendary makeup artist, and she came up with this product when she was doing the makeup for the Victoria's Secret runway models, because I feel like we're all familiar with the Victoria's Secret runway models. Their bodies they're glowing to the gods, they're lotioned up, they're shimmering, but the face, the makeup on the runway, it looked very flat, it looked very matte, and she wanted to create a product that helped the face glow as much as their bodies on the runway. And so she formulated the Living Luminizer. And that is exactly what this product does. It comes in a little tin and you really only need the tiniest amount. And there's something about the shimmer and the iridescence of this product that really makes you look like you are glowing from within. I just love the finish of this. I also feel like a lot of other balm highlighters, they're kind of like too slippy and too dewy. I mean, if you're using a balm highlighter, it's gonna be dewy no matter what. But I like that this has a thicker texture, so it's longer lasting. It stays on my cheeks a lot longer. It doesn't slip around as much, and it also doesn't disturb my foundation or whatever I've applied underneath. My personal favorite is the original shade, the Living Luminizer, but they have a couple of shades now, like the Champagne Luminizer or like Luminizer X. They have a couple of different shades. They're all beautiful, and they also sell these really cute little mini palettes where you can get 4 of the shades in one and you can kind of mix and match, and it's beautiful. You can put it anywhere on your face, décolleté, lips, you name it, to just add a little bit of ethereal glow. The Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow. This is going to be, first off, a liquid format, so it's going to come with a little doe foot applicator, and it's going to be more toned down, more subdued, less illuminating, and also less dewy than the RMS Living Luminizer. This has a hydrating emulsion base. The first ingredient is actually water, so it's super lightweight and hydrating and is not dewy or greasy on the skin. It almost creates this second skin type of effect. It becomes your skin. It's truly an impressive formula. Lisa Eldridge has a lot of really great products. I think this might be the one that has impressed me the most because of how skin-like this is. And it also does have some film forming agents. So it essentially forms a flexible film on your skin. So it stays looking like your skin, but it's not going to be dewy or greasy, and it's going to stay in place for hours. As I was planning this video, I was thinking to myself, she should win an award for this formulation. And then I took a look at the website and she actually did. She won Forbes Best of Liquid Highlighter overall in 2024. So good job, Lisa Eldridge. It is a fantastic product that more people should know about. It is also fragrance free, I might add. And my favorite shade is this one right here, which is called Pink Moon. I think that this is the best one overall if you don't mind a liquid formula and you truly want something that is super lightweight and incredibly skin-like. But don't worry, I have not forgotten the Dior Forever Glow Maximizers, a fan favorite here on this channel. These are going to be glowier, more illuminating than the Lisa Eldridge. The Lisa Eldridge is very, very subdued and skin-like. These are for my friends out there that want a little bit more glow. The Lisa Eldridge as well, it has more of like a serum-y texture, very lightweight. The Dior ones, they have more humectants, so they're kind of creamier, kind of like a cream gel type of formulation, I would describe them as. I think these are best if you have drier skin, if you want to have more of like a hydrated type of look to your cheekbones. I also prefer these for the shade range. I like the fact that they have lighter colors that are more of a traditional highlighter, but they also have colors like this rosy glow one here that's more of like a illuminating blush. I love the bronze one as well for a bit of a bronzy moment. You can mix them together and make your own little shade. I love that. I like to use these as kind of like a glowy highlighter blush, and they are going to be more subdued than, let's say, the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wands. If you always felt that those were way too much for you, maybe they emphasize texture. They're very metallic. Those are very, very glowy. The Dior ones are kind of like the soft, more natural looking version of that. And I will mention, even though these are more hydrating, they aren't greasy. At least I don't think so. I feel like they set down pretty nicely on the cheekbones. I will mention, however, they do have added fragrance. The Westman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlight. This is going to be in a solid compact type of format. It has a luxurious balm-like texture with silky, non-greasy emollients. Because these come in a solid format, they are quite pigmented. They can almost be used as a glowy blush, depending on the shade that you get. I have the one Peau de Pêche, and I feel like this, I kind of like to use it as a blush topper. It is a little bit too pigmented to be a true highlighter for my skin, but kind of like the darkest shade of the Prada, this can be used to sort of top off your blush or your bronzer and really give a beautiful, slightly peachy or bronzy effect. These are going to be more pigmented than the Dior Maximizers, but the finish is more glassy as opposed to luminous and light reflecting with the Dior. I think with the Westman Atelier, the key is less is more. You really don't need that much. It's a lot to go in with just a little bit. You can tap it on the cheekbone with the fingers and you are done. If you want to put on some more so it's kind of like a blush, still don't go in with that much because, like the name would suggest, they are super loaded. I will also add that these are fragrance free and they do come with very weighty, very luxurious Westman Atelier packaging. All right, now we've made it to the point in the video where I'm going to share some of the best-selling highlighters that I personally don't really care for. These are the ones that I think are not super smooth. I find them to be quite glittery, quite chunky, just not really to my preference. If you're looking for something that is smooth, effortless, ethereal, and skin-like, these would be the ones that I would stay away from. And by the way, if you like any of these, it's totally fine. I just want to share my own thoughts and learnings, so hopefully that'll save you some money down the line. The first ones are the Chanel highlighting powders. And I know it's kind of surprising because because Chanel is known for very subtle, very classic, very elegant style of makeup, but I don't think that the highlighting powders really fit that aesthetic. These are the permanent ones, by the way, that they always have in the line. I believe they have 3 different colors. They're not very good, guys. They're kind of dry. They have a very glittery finish. I've checked them out at the counter multiple times. They're just not it. I know it's Chanel. I know it's Chanel, and we love to be bougie here on this channel, but let's be bougie with our Dolce and Gabbana and our Lisa Eldridge and all the other ones that I just recommended. You don't need the Chanel highlighting powder. The only shade that is a bit better, which I have here in my collection, is called White Opal. This is going to be a white toned pearlescent style of highlighter. This one is not as glittery, but the shade and the whole vibe is exactly the same as the Gucci Sunrise Gold that I showed you earlier in this video. And the Gucci one is so much better, smoother, more special, more luxurious. So I would go with the Gucci and I would skip the Chanel. It is also worth noting that some of these seasonal Chanel highlighters are some of the worst that I have ever tried. Some of them are truly glittery, chunky. There was a mermaid one, I think a year ago. There was the one with the sequin patterns like 1 or 2 holidays ago. If you want to watch a little roasty rant after this, I will link down below my video, Chanel products that I regret buying, and I go in full detail about all of the Chanel luminizers that I absolutely despised. Some of the Chanel luminizers have been the best that I've ever tried, but they're not a part of the permanent line. So once they're gone, they are gone. So what is the lesson here, friends? Wait for the review. Wait for the review. Don't just go buying the Chanel highlighter as soon as it comes out. Watch the review. I usually review them here on my channel, and I will let you know if they are smooth, ethereal, skin-like, and perfect. Okay, I'm usually not this salty about Chanel. I promise they're one of my favorite beauty brands, but I do have one more Chanel highlighter that I want to warn you about, and that is the Chanel Balm Essential. These are kind of like a stick format, and I guess the thing I want to warn you about is that these are the dewiest balm highlighter that I have in my collection. They're kind of like borderline greasy. I much prefer the RMS Living Luminizer. I just want to warn you, like these, they're very, very dewy. I really only reach for these when they come out with a very interesting color. They come out with some beautiful tones, some really beautiful iridescent finishes, and I love the way that they look, but I really can only wear these if it's like a hair in the bun kind of situation. The YSL Beauty Hyper Luminize highlighter. Hyper Luminize is right because these are very, very shimmery, very glittery, very pigmented. I'm kind of surprised from YSL Beauty because a lot of their makeup has this very kind of slightly creamy emollient feel to it, kind of like the Prada highlighter. That's what their eyeshadows are like. And I like the feel of this, but I really just don't like the finish of these highlighters. I was so disappointed when I recently tried these out. I find them to be very, very glittery. If you want more of that glittery effect, by the way, that's totally cool, but I'm just here to warn you, for those of you out there who want something more smooth, this is not where I would spend my money. This last one though, this disappoints me the most because I am a huge fan of Clé de Peau Beauté, but their luminizing face enhancers, this is like almost all the way there to be one of the best highlighters that I've ever tried, but the finish is just too glittery and a lot of the shades are very, very frosty. Take a look at this product. It is like, this is luxury. This is stunning. The packaging, the way they've laid out the pan, all the colors, it looks like a beautiful gemstone. Even the actual feel of the formula, it feels very smooth. All of that is good. This could be a 10 out of 10. I just feel like it emphasizes texture. These are not my favorite, and I don't really see a lot of luxury beauty creators talking about them all that much, and I feel like there's a reason for that. So Clé de Peau, I know you're reformulating some of your products right now. Maybe take a look at these and come out with a version that's just like a little bit more subtle, because you are almost there, baby. You are almost there. Comment down below and let me know what are some of your favorite highlighters and what are some that you think we should avoid. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. Up next, I have my 5 best and worst luxury bronzers to try right now. I'll see you there.